Welcome again to the Neshoba County Fair. Perez, it really is incredible from where we were 2 hours and 20 minutes ago when we came on to it's like people woke up, got their coffee, maybe got some eggs and a biscuit in them, and now they're ready to go. We got the marching band going from Neshoba Central High School. David McCray, the state treasurer, is going to join us coming up in the next segment. We are scheduled to visit with Shuwaski Young, who is running for Secretary of State. We're told that he is on his way, and so we'll visit with him hopefully in just a few minutes. Told you earlier, lots happening today and for the rest of the week with SuperTalk Mississippi. You got In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar this afternoon from 1 to 2. And then those fellas on Sports Talk will jump in. And this afternoon at the KLLM, the reveal for the custom wrap tractor trailers for Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Southern Miss, and Jackson State. And then tomorrow we'll be in Hattiesburg for the Dixie Youth World Series. So certainly looking forward to all of those things. I'm going to say that Shuwaski Young had the same issue that I had, even at 6 o'clock this morning. Where in the world do you park around here?
Look, I'll tell you, it's in the Neshoba County Fair, so everyone is here, fired up and ready to go this morning, and you're absolutely right. Parking was challenging.
No doubt about it. Good to be with you. I'm Richard Cross in for Paul Gallo this morning, so it's a pleasure to visit for a few minutes. You're running for Secretary of State.
Yep.
Why?
Well, I'll tell you what, I started my career out at the Mississippi Secretary of State office, right out of Jackson State University, worked in the Public Lands Division and the Elections Division, as Director of Marketing and Training later in the Elections Division, of course, I stated, and worked on the two administrations there, Democratic administration and also the administration of Deborah Holzman when he was there for a bit. So for me, this year in this particular election, it's about making sure that we move our state forward, in a bipartisan fashion, making sure that we are protecting folks' voting rights, expanding business in our state, and making sure that we're investing in our kids' future. So that's one of the reasons why I'm running.
Do you think those things are happening now?
Look, I think we have a lot of work to do when we see what's actually happening right now in the realm of voting in our state. Just yesterday, a federal judge just actually overturned the new ballot harvesting law that was put in effect on July the 1st, that was put forth by the Secretary of State's office, also signed by the governor. There are some major issues with those particular laws that we see as a problem, and we want to be able to make sure we change that in the future.
So what do you see with the issues with the laws as it has been put forward?
Yeah. So look, one, when it comes to voter purging in our particular state, we want to make sure that our rolls are clean. We want to make sure that people have the highest level of integrity when they're actually in our elections. But what we don't want to see is folks who have served in our military or folks who are older folks actually getting purged from the voter rolls because they didn't vote in the last two federal elections. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, we don't want to actually see an absentee ballot process where people actually have to pay to get a notarization for that particular absentee ballot and also to cast that ballot. I don't believe people should be paying for their votes. Number three, I don't think that it's good when the Secretary of State's office is conducting business with election commissioners and county circuit clerks. Folks I used to train at the Secretary of State how to actually run elections, conducting business with guns on their side. That's not what we want to be able to see in our courthouses and things of that nature. We want to be able to make sure we're bringing early voting in Mississippi, mail-in ballots in Mississippi, and online voter registration, and that's one of the main tenets of this campaign.
We're visiting with Shuwaski Young, who's running for Secretary of State. You talked about purging rolls,
yeah.
that we don't want to eliminate people that are still eligible to vote, but we also don't want people voting that have been dead for 10 years.
We hear it all the time. Look, of course we don't. But I don't see anyone who has run a recent election talking about that after their voter results come in.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things people always say. People on the voting rolls that are voting that are dead. It's something that I definitely want to make sure is actually happening, as far as making sure that we're making sure our voter rolls are clean.
The Secretary of State's office has a lot that kind of falls onto its plate, because I feel like most people are like, okay, they're in charge of elections. That's the job.
One of many.
But maybe don't understand the relationship that the Secretary of State's office has with the business community.
Sure.
what about that side of the office as well?
Yeah. So of course, here in Mississippi, look, if you're starting a business, getting your LLC or getting started out, you're going to go through the Secretary of State office to establish that particular business. You're also going to go there to make sure that you're following the laws, prerequisite for you actually establish that business in the market. But it's also a business component to it where there's a negotiation factor on who's coming into the state, who's actually able to expand business in our state, and how those particular policies and laws are going to be put forth in business with those folks, how they're going to impact our state, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things from my platform is I want to see big business come in our state. I want to see us expand our actual job market, both for small businesses and also big businesses as well, too. But on the business side, I want to see those businesses like Apple and Google and Facebook investing back into our public education system, K-2 as well.
You are a veteran, correct?
That is correct.
So tell me about your service time.
Yep. So born and raised right here in Mississippi, of course, and when I was 17 years old, I joined the Mississippi Army National Guard right here in Philadelphia. In fact, I always tell people that in the Neshoba County Fair at 15 years old was my first job parking cars right outside. So I was in the Mississippi Army National Guard for about 3 years and actually moved forward after that to continue college.
When you have this opportunity to speak for somebody that was parking cars here when they were 15 years old to now running for statewide office and having the chance to speak on this pavilion with this crowd and in such a iconic and historic setting, what does that mean for you?
Look, this is 134 years of the Neshoba County Fair, right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal. We've seen some of the biggest political movers and shakers in our particular state's history speak right just a few feet away on that particular stage. Last year, when I ran for Congress, was my first time actually speaking on that particular stage. It's nothing like it. It's a dream come true for a lot of folks who ever thought about running for a statewide office in our particular state, or an office that's going to be covering Neshoba County, because that's one of the prerequisites, right? It's a place where, not just Republicans, but independents and Democrats can come and hear from their potential elected officials and also hear straight from the horse's mouth how they want to actually impact the state. And this is a place not for the faint-hearted if you're running for office. Significant
challenge for you, and I think you probably knew that when you launched this campaign. When you talk about running against an incumbent who is a popular incumbent in Michael Watson, and then he speaks right after you do today as well.
Yeah. Amazing how that happens, right?
Part of the challenge, right?
That's part of the challenge.
There's Brandon Presley, Tate Reeves back-to-back.
Yesterday
coming up
was
a little bit later.
Lieutenant Governor Holzman and also Senator McDaniels. Interesting. I'm looking forward to it, though. Look, one of the things that's always about the fair is the decorum here, right? Just the respect that people have, not only just for one another, but also for the legacy of the fair itself, because that's who we are as Mississippians, right? So it's not about getting up there muscling. It's about getting up there presenting your ideas, showing the stark differences between you and the current person who may be in office or you're running against, and let the people decide for themselves.
Shuwaski, really appreciate you coming by and spending a few minutes with us. Wish you all the best, and
Thank you.
Good luck with the speech this morning.
I'm looking forward to it.